students to the video lecture series. I am Adil Mansoori from Civil Engineering Department of LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. So my dear students, in the previous video, we were discussing about the solid waste management. Okay, so we had already covered regarding the classification of solid waste. Okay, let us start with the next topic, that is sources of municipal solid waste. So municipal solid waste sources are basically five. So first one is household, right? That we have already discussed. Then construction, road and sweepings. Then institutions. Then horticulture and the commercial areas. Okay. So usually the solid waste which are gathered or which are collected are usually dumped on the landfill sites. Okay. So, moving further, let us now start with the physical characteristics of the municipal solid waste. Okay, so there are different physical characteristics. So, first one is the determination of the ingredients, right? As we discussed, the different ingredients are plastic, paper, then metals, glass, right? We need to separate those. Then talking about the bulk density. This is an important point because the knowledge of density is very important for the design of all the elements of solid waste management systems like storage, transport, and disposal. Okay. For example, a known volume of solid waste for a known volume of solid waste, its density gives us the idea about the requirement of the trucks in the tonnage. Okay, and the density varies significantly from source to the disposal site because of the handling, change in moisture content, densification due to vibration of movements, right, or disturbance by animal and birds. Clear? Next is the moisture content. So moisture content of the solid waste is expressed as the weight of moisture per unit weight of wet materials, right? And moisture content varies generally from 20 to 45% depending upon the climatic conditions and level of city, that is income group, and so on, right? And the increase of moisture content increases the weight and thus the cost of transportation, and as a result storage section should be taken care of. Okay, then comes the location, from which location you have collected the solid waste, right? Then season, right? Because in monsoon season, because of the rainfall, there will be more formation of leachate as well. Clear? Then storage time, for how much time the solid waste has been stored, because it will lead to putrefaction because of the anaerobic decomposition or aerobic decomposition, right? Then there is the equipment used, right? Which are the different equipments used, and processing, right? That is compaction, shredding, etc. Clear? So let us now start with the next topic, that is chemical characteristics. So, chemical characteristics include calorific value. This is of the utmost important, right? Because the calorific value is the amount of heat generated from combustion of a unit weight of substance, which is expressed as kilocalorie per kilogram, right? And the calorific value is determined in the laboratory by calorimeter. Okay, then the chemical characteristics of solid waste are determined for assessing the treatment processes. Mainly three chemical characteristics are determined, that is chemical, biochemical, and toxicological. Okay, that is toxicological. Then chemical quantities of solid waste in Indian urban centers are pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, that is NPK, and total carbon or carbon nitrogen ratio, calorific value, and so on. Okay, so these are the different chemical quantities. Talking about biochemical characteristics includes carbohydrates, proteins, natural fibers, and biodegradable matters. And last, talking about the toxic characteristics include heavy metals, pesticides, and insecticides. Right? Now, consideration of lipids, that is fats, oils, and greases, should also be taken as they are of a very high calorific value, about 38,000 kilocalorie per kg. Right? These days, synthetic organic materials like plastic have become a significant component of solid waste, which is accounting for 5 to 7%. In India, the plastic is non-biodegradable and thus poses a great problem, right? It chokes the drains, and if it burns, it produces poisonous gases, right? The thin plastic sheets and bags are not recycled as the cost of making it dirt and oil free makes the process uneconomical, right? So all these consideration of characteristics are required to design, conceive, and assess the most appropriate ways of transportation and the requirements of treatment, extraction of energy, and the safe sanitary way of disposal for the protection of the environment. Clear? So let us now talk about the solid waste hierarchy. So, my dear students, this is a hierarchy from most preferred to least preferred, right? So, first of all, if you are using any material, right, and if solid waste is generated, then you should first try to prevent the use of such material, right? Now, if it is compulsory to use those materials, then try to reduce the use of those materials. Okay, that is the reduction. Fine. If it is not possible, then try to recycle the used material. Okay, and then if recycle is not possible, then you can go for recovery, and finally if nothing is possible, then you can go for disposal of the solid waste. Okay, so next, talking about the components of solid waste management. So first one is the identification of waste and its minimization at the source itself, collection, segregation, and storage at the site of collection, transportation, treatment, energy recovery, and disposal. Okay. So let us talk about identification of waste and its minimization at source. Okay. So the minimization of the waste production is the best strategy. Correct. And for this, first of all, the process should be such that there is at least production, there is a least production of the waste. Okay, then the next step is to reuse the remaining waste in the same process. This reduces the cost of transportation. Okay, then these methods can be adopted on a large scale as well, but for that the waste is first collected, transported, and then utilized. Okay, this incurs a large cost, so it is always preferable that if the waste production is minimized, or the waste is reused or recycled at the source itself. Thus, the waste minimization is achieved through careful planning, changing attitude, sometimes special investments are also needed, and most important is the commitment, right? The self-motivated will reduction of waste generally not possible. Okay, the self-motivated willing reduction of waste is generally not possible, so strict enforcement of law should be there, right? And the waste reduction and the reuse recycle should be given incentives from government in the form of tax reduction or loans. Okay, so this is what identification of waste and usually segregation is done. Okay, then Next is collection, segregation, and storage at the site of collection. So the main problem of solid waste management is the collection of solid waste. The household waste consists of all type of general waste, right? And at present, there is no scientific, clean, hygienic, efficient practice of waste collection in most of the cities of India, including the metro cities, right? Now, the industrial waste is also handled in the same way, and the collection and storage of the waste is most neglected operation in any industry, right? So the best way would have been the segregation of waste at the generation point. Segregation means collecting it in different bins or plastic bags. You can see the picture, right? And the domestic waste can be broadly separated as reusable, that is plastic, paper or metal, and non-reusable, right? And the non-reusable may have organic matters like kitchen waste or inorganic matters like dust or dirt, right? And the organic matter is liable to decomposition and thus requires immediate attention, right? Then this separated waste should be regularly collected by the worker directly from houses at some well-defined point of time, right? Then it should be transported in covered vehicle to some waste collection depots for utilization, transportation to different sites. The organic waste can be used for the production of biogas or for the extraction of the energy, incineration, right? That is controlled burning or making organic compost or vermicomposting, right? So this is a color coding: yellow bags, red bags, blue bags, and black bags. Clear? So let us talk about collection service for solid waste. So first one is the curb service, right? So although a variety of collection services are available, the most common are curb, alley, and backyard collection. So this is the curb service, right? So curb collection has gained popularity because labor cost for collection can be minimized, and in the future it appears that the use of large container which can be emptied mechanically with an articulated container pickup mechanism will be the most common method used for collection of municipal waste. Okay, so in this what happens is the user puts the bin outside his house, then the person from the governing authority comes with the collection vehicle, empties it and keeps the bin back, right? Next is alley service. So the containers are placed at the alley line from where they are picked up by the workmen from refuse vehicle, and it will again keep back. Okay, it will keep back the containers. Then collection service for solid waste again includes set out or setback services. So set out men go to the house to collect the containers and empty them in a refuse vehicle, and another group of person returns them to the house owner's yard. Okay, so there are two people involved in this. Then backyard service. So the workers with the vehicles carry a bin, wheelbarrow or sack or cloth to the yard and empty the solid waste container. The wheelbarrow or bin is then taken to the solid waste vehicle where it is emptied. Okay, so you can see the backyard service.